Hello. Today's lesson is 16-6. It's the last lesson in the last unit. It's the last lesson of the school year. Lesson's called Problem Solving, using tables and graphs to draw conclusion. You know how to make tally charts. You know how to make line plots. You know how to make pictographs. You know how to make bar graphs. Today you'll make graphs to draw conclusions. Here's a conclusion we can draw from looking at this graph. We can figure out that Greg saved the least in January and the most in March. I know that because the title of the graph is Amount Greg Saved Each Month, and the bar for January is the lowest and the bar for March is the highest. How are all these different kinds of graphs the same, and how are they different? Students pointed out that they were the same because they all had ways of displaying information clearly, and they were different because they had different ways to display that information. How do all of these help us understand information? They all make it clear for us to look at numbers and compare numbers. I like looking at graphs more than I like looking at a list of numbers because the graphs are easier for me to understand. Okay, we talked about what it means to draw conclusions. When we draw conclusions, we look at some pieces of evidence and we figure something out from that. We had this on the back of our morning math today. We had two bar graphs, and you can see them on the screen. And you can look at those and write 3 conclusions you can draw. In other words, 3 true facts about these graphs. My students suggested that you could draw the conclusion that Class B likes cheese sandwiches more than Class A. They drew the conclusion that tuna is not a popular sandwich in either class. And they had many other conclusions as well. In which class did more students like cheese sandwiches, and how do you know? In Class A, more students liked cheese sandwich. In Class B, more students liked cheese sandwiches. The bar for cheese sandwiches for Class B is bigger than the bar for cheese sandwiches for Class A. What was the favorite sandwich of Class A, and how do you know? Well, I'm looking at the graph for Class A, and it looks like peanut butter has the tallest bar, the longest bar, so I know it must be peanut butter is their favorite. Okay, then we looked at this, made a pictograph based on the information here. We looked at a couple of the questions we were going to work on in the book, just to preview them. Talked about that we were going to make a pictograph or a bar graph. And that was it for today.